What did you think of our best feature film nominee, Replica?
Oh, hey, thank you. I'm Chad. I played Scooter, one of the guys in the holding up the diner at Bob's Big Boy.
I'm Naomi Grossman. I played Anna.
I'm Stephen Smith-Collins. I played Terry.
Paul Tully, I played Noodles.
I'm Daniel Growler, I'm cop.
Oh, officer!
I'm Jeremy Luke. I played Mickey.
I'm Alexandra Gray, and I play Tanya.
Yeah!
I'm John McKeon, and I play Philippe.
Hey, please!
I'm Adam Feingold. I played Little Joe.
I'm Mr. Leonard, producer.
Hi, my mate's wife, and Layla Almas Rose. I play Angela, and I'm one of the producers as well.
Thank you all so much for being here. Now we're going to take some questions from the audience. So if you have a question, please raise your hand. Don't be shy. I'll call on you, and please project so we can hear you.
Paul, what was the biggest challenge for rewriting it to make it from a play script to a film script?
Yeah, great question. It was a huge challenge. I got help from Jaime, actually, and Layla. We met in New York, and I think I had tried to do, turn it into a screenplay like in 2016, and it was terrible. It was just one long monologue. I didn't really know how to format, so once I got with Jaime and Layla, they really sat me down and kind of just taught me how to structure, and from there taught me how to use, programs, so, and then we were able to just kind of get it in there, so, pretty much keep it as accurate as we could to the play and adding some new things. We had like a couple drafts too, I think, right?
Yeah,
they were like,
tons.
Because a lot of it had to do with budget. Like this was originally supposed to be shot all in Hollywood, so there were like, it was complicated because it had to change depending on the amount of money we got. So a lot of the story, then it changed to like the middle of the desert at one point because we were like, well, we could afford to just shoot in the desert. And then, so it was difficult, but possible. And I want to say, watching it now, believe me, I know the monologues are long, and I know where it drags, so it's not like, it's just something I've been very stubborn about, even with the producers, and they've all been very gracious to let me keep the cut that I want, because most of that stuff was very accurate to my life. So a lot of the monologues were very important, so when I die, that'll be my legacy. There are people that be able to see some of that stuff. So I've been very stern, even though I know some of it drags and it's long. So believe me, I know, but I don't give a shit. It's my movie, so I hope you like it.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, hey guys, wow, what a movie. My question, what particular scene was the most challenging, not so much cinematic-wise, but to get like the right acting for the right moment? Maybe you made like 18,000 million takes of it. Like what scene was that was the most challenging?
Yeah, I mean, listen, one thing I'm very impressed by all the actors, these were 2-take goes. Not one scene in this movie was more than 2 takes. I think there might be one Jeremy and Alexandra, maybe that we got 3. Definitely all Mickey Rourke, I mean, we had 12 days to shoot this feature.
That's great.
So to answer your question, every fucking scene was difficult. We had no time to dig in, and I'm a theater guy, and most of my actors are theater. We know each other from the theater, so there was some rehearsal, right? We got rehearsal in, so this way it wouldn't waste time, because we didn't have a budget. But I will say the one scene that I thought was 2. It was one with the girls, the shooting up scene when Anna's shooting up pregnant. that one, I think, is a very powerful scene, and we didn't have many takes. And to get those emotions that they were all portraying, you know, I tried to get it to like a evil, good, you know, kind of dark moment, lust and seduction in this dirty world, but where he's battling with his conscience. That scene was very difficult, I thought, but they were all difficult, but that one was difficult for me. I don't know about anybody else.
It's just a piggyback question, because I cannot believe you did that in like 2 takes, most of those things. That's crazy. How did you emotionally get there in 2 takes? Like, I guess this could be a question for like the lead actors. How did you emotionally get there?
Well, I think the most difficult scene for me was probably the sort of fight scene between us, where I disclosed that I'm trans, and you know, it's a lot to sort of hear those things. I mean, even sort of watching it back, you know, just to hear, and obviously it's the movie and the character, but to just hear those sort of transphobic sort of comments, and so that fight was really tough, just to have sort of my womanhood and my transness questioned. But it was great. It was really emotional, I think, for just both of us. But that probably was the most difficult scene for me.
Hello. I was in the play a couple years prior, so it was a little different for me because I kind of understood. I had like a map of where to go, and I came into this with much more, I think, than the other actors. But you know, you never, I don't ever really feel like I got it, you know. Some of the things we were doing, like Paul said, like we were running really fast, you know. I mean, we were doing like 10 pages a day, Paul.
Seven, yeah.
Yeah, 7, but it felt like 10. but it was, it was rough and tough, and you know, you just kind of try to go with what's happening, what's really happening, stay as present as possible. But you know, I'm an actor, so I never really feel like I got it, you know. But that's what we were doing, making an independent film.
Yeah. Cool.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, were there any scenes that you had to cut out because, like, you had such a short amount of time, but when you were looking at it, did something not go with the rhythm of the film, and then you had to take it out, or?
Absolutely, a couple important scenes. Jaime Zavallo over there, who said producer, he's actually in the movie, and his whole scene, we couldn't get, it's the only scene in the whole movie we couldn't get. I mean, we had the, what's the guy called? The freaking cop that's on set that makes sure you don't go overtime for the union. We had that guy like right here on my neck. And I'm like, I'm gonna kill it. Get this guy away from me. I just want to get that shot, and really.
The permit.
The permit, you know, the permit guy. So if you go over, then everybody turns into a double day or whatever. So all the producers are up my ass. And I couldn't get that shot. So all you see at the end is like the girls in a police car. It almost doesn't make sense. But what happens is they get busted for murdering, you know, for the dead girl. So there's supposed to be a closing, and we just couldn't get it. And I did my best in the editing room with my editor. So that was one scene. And then there were other scenes, but that one killed me because we were so close. I was like right there. You know, and to me, I'm like, it's 5 minutes, but it's such a big deal, I guess, to producers, you know. Money. I'm an artist, you know? Well, that was the scene.
Filmmaking wise, you adapted it from the play, and it played so well as a feature. What was the main filmmaking technique or aspect that you implemented to make sure that it didn't feel like a long, short film?
Great question. So I didn't even know how to do a shot list making this movie. This is my first film I've directed. Thank you. I'll be honest with you, a great DP, a great team, a lot of conversations. I swear to you, I didn't know how to do a shot list. I didn't know anything about shot scheme. Ask me now. I've done a lot of work, a lot of homework, just did another film, got another film that I can't talk about because of the strike that we're gonna green light another feature. So now I've learned the craft. So I guess to answer your question was, I went in really scared and really blind. Thank God this was a story so close to me. So I didn't really, I can see how to keep it pushing. Like I said, I know where it drops and where it drags, and I could probably, watching it tonight, I'm like, man, maybe I should just do some of that stuff. But I think knowing the story so well for me and having it in me, I was able to keep pushing the storyline, is what I'm saying. I don't think the script, if you were to read the screenplay, I don't think it's there to where you would go, oh, I think most of this got created with great actors that were able to take whatever scribble I had and make it their own, and then in the post, the editing rooms, a lot of the story came together in post. We shifted scenes around from the script, so if you look at the screenplay, that's not the order of the screenplay. That was me, one of my executive producers, Micaiah Robnett, who couldn't be here, was really a good contributor to that. We would be at his house, and my editor. And we literally just rearranged how the story even goes, and I think it came together pretty good for the most part.
How important was it for you to use a real trans actress in the role? And were you ever pressured to use a cisgender woman to play a trans actress?
Great question. So in the play, I used a cisgender woman. Actually, one thing I want to point out, I think I did in the interview with us that's important to me as an actor's director. This was a 3-person play in 2013. It started off in 2013 as a 1-act play. A writer, a seasoned writer from New York, was part of my theater company, and he taught a class. I had never written anything, so I wrote a 3-person play. And the 3 actors, it's the casting director at the very end that comes in and says, "Are you ready?" That's the original Mickey. So I just want to point this out because it's important for filmmakers out there to have loyalty. That's the original Mickey from the play, before Jeremy went on to play it later. And then the woman, the African-American woman that plays the motel manager, she's the original Tanya in the play. And then the gentleman here that played the cop, that's the original Paul. So when I got this greenlit, it was so important to me to keep them in. So now let me answer about this. So I knew making the film, there was the only reason I had a cis woman originally, I didn't know any trans actresses, to be honest. I have a theater company. We do our plays within our theater company. So when we decided to make the movie, we knew that we had to honor, you know, a trans woman to play the character. Second, I had sent the script to GLAAD to make sure that they nurtured the script and went over the script, and they had trans writers reading what I was writing. Chaz Bono, Cher's son, helped a lot, was attached to this film, but then got injured. So Chaz Bono was a big help. Actually, the scene where Tanya said was the most difficult, that scene didn't exist in the original draft. And Chaz had asked me, called me one night after doing the reading, and said that, said your script is very good, but you have the power to write this character in a position of power. The way it used to be was she didn't reveal she was trans. Paul does it at the end in a very joking, almost mockery. That's how the audience finds out she's trans. After Chaz told me, be creative, but think about a young trans kid that might see this movie, and you know, African American trans women are the most, you know, assaulted in the trans community. You have the power to try to write them with something. That's all he told me. So I went home and it just hit me like, oh, let's make her do the reveal and give her the moment of power. So to answer your question, it was really important to hire a trans. There was never no problem pressure. There was never pressure to hire a cisgender woman. Actually, I will be honest, it's completely opposite. Nobody would finance it anyways if I did want to hire a cisgender woman, to be quite honest. So it was a no-brainer. Nobody will even put money on it if you even thought of doing that. So that was easy for me, but I still wanted to hire a trans actress because, I mean, it's truthful. It's her role to grab.
Any other questions from the audience?
How do you feel playing that role?
Yeah, I was actually thinking of saying something about that. I think that is important to note that the average life expectancy for Black trans women is 35. I'm 32. So what I can say is that what I love about this role is that this was my first leading role in a project. But I think it's just so important. I think it's important for Black trans women to see themselves represented, and I think it's important for the world to see us and to see the humanity in us, because that is a very real statistic, and it's very scary because I've lost friends that look just like me, so it doesn't matter, you know? So yeah, it was important, and I was honored to play this character, and I love that Paul really allowed us to sort of bring ourselves to the characters, and I know in that scene that was really difficult. I know he allowed me to just sort of flow a little bit with some of the dialogue, and I got to say some things that were really just on my heart, because I live this reality. Every time I meet men, you know, they don't know, so I have to tell them every single time. And that's tough, you know, and you want the fairy tale. Sometimes you want to just exist in the world. So yeah, it was very important, and I think that this is an important time, so I'm glad that, you know, people will get to see this film, and hopefully it opens some hearts and some minds.
Any other questions from the audience? Okay, I have a question. I want to ask the cast what your favorite moment was from the film, either during filming or watching it back.
I think it's the third time I've seen the film, and every time I watch it, I get very emotional because Paul gave me the first opportunity. I'm originally from Spain, and this was my first role here in the States. So thank you, Paul, and thank you everyone. Yeah, this movie means a lot to me, and I get very emotional every time that I watch it, and yeah, thank you.
You killed it, man.
Well, so I wasn't supposed to be in the movie. Someone got COVID, and my buddy Jaime over here called me and he said, I think I can get you in this movie. And I was in New York at the time, and he made me send pictures, and he's like, the director really wants a big guy. So I put on the tightest shirts, and I had my ex-girlfriend at the time taking pictures, and we were doing all the photo shoot in the apartment. And then he called me and he's like, you know, the guy's got a test and he might be negative, so it might not happen, but I think you should come to LA. And I was like, what would you do? He goes, man, get on that plane. You know magic happens on movie sets. And that was it. So that was my favorite story.
Yeah.
I don't have a favorite scene, but I think an eventful day was the Mickey day when we had Mickey Rourke for a day.
Yeah.
And that was a really eventful day.
That's pretty busy.
Can I say? I'll say there were a lot of favorite moments, but I think what I loved about doing this project was that we did get a lot of rehearsal time before. So we would like drive out to the motel. I mean, I think they rented the whole motel for like a year or something. Because everybody slept there, everybody lived there. It was like
My buddy owns it, so yeah.
Oh, very good. So it was just really fun because I come from sort of the TV world, and so it's very fast paced, and you know, you just show up on set that day and you meet the actor and you do a rehearsal and then you shoot it. So this was great because we got to spend some time together and drive and sit in LA traffic for 2 hours, and went to his house and just got to really read the lines and study at the motel. So that was really fun.
I've had a special relationship with this play because I've started with the one act, and it's been working.
It's on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it on?
Yeah, it works.
Okay, a little closer. Here we go. Yeah. So I've performed this play. I've experienced it in different venues with different casts, and so to see it change from a one act with 3 people, and then adding more characters, and then doing more readings, and then meeting up at his house and doing more readings, and then more readings, and then putting it up, and then getting to meet all these other wonderful people in the process of developing this just as a theater piece. And then working throughout the whole process as a screenplay. So there's not one particular aspect I like. I have a very special relationship with everything, and I've enjoyed the whole entire process. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Paulie's dad, and
How was the popcorn?
I'm Noodles, and I'm very proud of Paulie. I remember when he was little, we grew up in New York City, well, we grew up LA, and then we were in New York City in Greenwich Village growing up, and he was, and sent him to acting school and stuff like that. He was a little guy, and I'm really, I'm proud of him. And then as it went on, I've been in Teamsters my whole life, you know, working, and getting him in soccer and then baseball, and my whole life people said, you should be, I got a great sense of humor, either an actor or a stand-up comic, you know, because I'm always talking my ass off. And so then now I like to ride motorcycles alone. I'm in no gang, nothing. I love Harley Davidsons, you know what I mean? And I'm a real tattoo
No
man.
gang affiliation.
Yeah.
So he
All the
wanted
money's clean.
me to be a nice gentleman tonight, as his dad, you know, whatever. Not where I wanted to. I kidnapped him to Cancun, so I had my mustache down here with red, black, and they look nice. So I thought they looked nice with the tux, but as you see, I don't know. But anyway, like that, and then, you know, I wrote a book because Paulie explained to me, Dad, man, I was fooling around with some writing. If you write a book, it's there forever. I go, what do you mean forever? And then he goes, yeah, like forever, ever. And I go, no shit. So they helped me out a little bit, and I wrote the book. And then to be in this is my first thing, and it was great. So I'm all tattooed back. I'm a real Harley Davidson. So I've been right in there, you know, like, fuck him. My sense, you know, like, fuck him, put him in the tub and cut him up. He's short money, fuck him, you know, and I like that. I liked everybody that act. It was so cool, especially the captain of the bike. Like, he didn't like to hear when them 2 guys were kind of like, let's give him a break because he's a nice guy. And then when I said, fuck him, cut him up, he grinned like, we'll do that. So that was cool. Anyway, it was a great experience for me. And thank you people for tolerating me and all that stuff. And, thank you.
How do you follow that?
Wow.
I can't even remember the original question. But I think it was like favorite scene or the best
Favorite
part.
moment watching it or making it?
Well, I do want to say that I think we went over time because Paul is the most generous director. I mean, there were a lot of very uncomfortable moments shooting this, and he was such a total sweetheart, making sure that we all felt comfortable going into each and every take, which for me was important because my first day in the project, I need to show up and hop into bed with someone I don't even know, and then have my teeth torn out by Mickey Rourke. So
It was really nerve-wracking, but I mean this, he did such an amazing job with all of us, and I'm so grateful to you. Amazing.
I had so much fun just preparing for this. I Googled meth heads of Walmart and fell on that YouTube
You told me about that.
rabbit hole.
I
And then, you know, on set I was doing it. Like I was, you know, channeling all the method, like composite character. And yeah, I just had so much fun, you know, going there. And watching, you know, my fellow actors, because as it turns out, I had actually seen this play and I didn't realize. I mean, I remember sitting in the makeup chair and saying like, I feel like I've seen this, like, but like, play. And it was actually Jeremy. He was like, yeah, bitch, it was me. You saw it. And then, of course, I was not surprised when everything took 2 takes because they had been preparing it since 2006. You know what I mean? Like, most of us got, you know, a week to Google, and they had 25 years, you know, to prepare. And but it showed because it only took 2 takes because they, you know, in theater you usually get 1. You know what I mean, with an audience. So it was. I just remember being very, very impressed with the talent surrounding me.
I'm grateful to be a part of this. And Jeremy said, put yourself on tape for this part. It's like, okay. And like I came on the last day of the last night shoot. It was a lot of fun. You guys all killed it. Everyone, so many great moments. Congrats to you all. Congrats. I'm happy to be here, be part of it. One of my favorite moments, I'd say, John, the blue pill, red pill thing. Whew.
Yeah, that was heavy.
One of my
That was
favorites.
real. Yeah, that was like right on, brother.
But yeah, thank you.
Thank you all so much for sharing that. Paul, I have a question for you. I know this story comes from a really personal place and experience in your life, and when you shared that with me, it was just so touching. So I'd love for you to share that with the audience. What inspired you to tell this story?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to jump into that. I'm going to add to it kind of goes in with the blue pill, red pill. What's funny is that monologue I was working in jewelry before I got into acting. So this like, I got out of the military in 2005 and I had a job at this jewelry store. And my coworker was gay. And at this time, I mean, I wasn't homophobic, but I didn't really hang out with gay people, so we were having an argument one day about whether you're born that way or not. So I'm going on like, this is impossible, you're not born that way, you had trauma, something happened when you're and he told me, he didn't do the whole blue pill, red pill, but what he did say is, with all the stuff I go through being gay, why would anybody choose that? That's all he had said, but that's kind of what inspired that monologue when I was writing this, to think like, when he says, which pill would I take? And as we all know, that's a little bit Matrix, right? Blue pill, red pill. So I just kind of incorporated that, but it came from a real conversation of me being ignorant, right? So to answer your question about the whole story now, back in the 90s, this is like 1990, I gotta say it's like 93, maybe 92. I'd come out from New York, and back then I was a troublemaker. And I had cousins here in LA, and they took me out to a nightclub in Hollywood. So I was visiting from New York, and I'm on a lot of drugs at the time. We're doing like cocaine and smoking weed, and we go to this nightclub. But I don't know nothing about the LA night scene, like this club called Arena. So I'm like in this club, and there's all these like gangbangers and these Mexican cholos, so I'm like, all right, I like this, there's a girl in the go-go box, so they're grabbing her, violating her, and I'm like, oh, I want to do that too, and this guy grabs me before I do that, my buddy, and he goes, oh, that's a dude. So I get really uncomfortable, I'm like, man, let's get the fuck out of here. They're like, yo, let's go take Paul out of here. I was pretty violent. So we go to another club. This is where Replica comes. We go to another club, right? So now I'm out of my mind doing cocaine. And this gay guy hit on me. So I flip out on him, start yelling homophobic rants, just really not being a pleasant person. Next thing I know, this cholo dude's like, hey, what's happened? I'm like, can you believe this? You know, bad word, trying to hit on me. So the guys go, hey, homie, I think you should watch how you're talking. So I go, fuck you talking about? Next thing I know is like the gay Twilight Zone, like 50 gangbangers are like coming out. They're all gay. I mean, like they're all gay. The whole club was gay. So now I'm like out of my mind. My shirt's off. We're outside the club. They come flowing out of the fucking club. They're tattooed 18th Street. All this stuff all over. And I'm thinking, what is happening? How are they gay? I thought they were on my team, like. And right before they beat the shit out of me, out of nowhere, like transvestite Batman. This girl jumps in the middle. I don't think we said transgender back then, could be wrong, but transvestite. It was like, you can tell it's a man, but dressed as a woman. Jumped in the middle, saved my life. Says he's with me. So I'm like, I'm not with you. She looked at me and goes, you're with me. So they're like, no, fuck you, he ain't with you. Now I'm sobering up, right? There's like 50. I'm like thinking, oh, maybe I should shut the fuck up. So she goes, you're with me. She gets me out of there, like, then get this motherfucker out of here. I get out of there, take off in the car, leave. Never seen this woman again. Years go by, I get sober, get into AA, family come out as gay, my sister's lesbian, my nephew's gay, right? Now it's in the house, right? I'm starting to change, right? I'm sober. And when I started to write this, I thought to myself, why in the hell would that woman have jumped in the middle to save me? Because I wouldn't have did that for her. If the roles were reversed and it was a bunch of straight guys, I would have let that gay person get beat. I would have justified it that night by like, oh well, you're in the wrong club. And that hit me. I sat in front of my laptop and I thought, why the hell would she do that? And the only thing that could come to mind was humanity. She just didn't want to see a human being get hurt. And then it, it makes me want to cry because it hit me like, damn, I was the fucking problem. And so I wanted to write a story. I felt division in the country and in the world, and I thought, man, what if I could somehow take two people from opposite worlds, like I was that night, definitely opposite world, put them in a room, and just let them share each other's traumas and childhood traumas. You get Mickey's story, you get Tanya's story, which was beautiful. She comes from this, like, her dad was so loving, and Mickey had this different upbringing. And if I could just bring them together, not so much to say they're going to be in love and be one, but that they accept each other and respect each other. And I feel if we could do that in the world, damn, what a better place it would be, right? Just respect each other. So that's where the story of Replica comes from.
Yeah!
Sharing that, Paul. I think that's a beautiful note to end our Q&A on. So we want to thank Paul and the incredible cast and crew of Replica for sharing your film with us at the Burbank International Film Festival and for being here tonight. We're honored to help share your story.
Thank you so much.